Are the descendants of 40 million people who left other countries, other familiar scenes, to come here to the United States to build a new life.
You can go to live in France, but you cannot become a Frenchman. You can go to live in Germany or Turkey or Japan, but you cannot become a German, a Turk, or Japanese. But anyone from any corner of the earth can come to live in America and become an American.
The gangs are gone. America is for Americans and Americans only.
Hundreds of angry New Yorkers taking to the streets.
But you have to have, you have rules, regulations, laws.
The origin of the immigration controversy in the U.S. comes from Ellis Island. Among many other ports along the East Coast, an escapist dream. All one had to do was cross an ocean, for months on a boat that was most likely falling apart, and they, too, could call themselves Americans. More than 12 million hopefuls made the journey between 1892 and 1954, and were successfully, legally, allowed entry into the country. However, once they made it, they faced heavy ridicule, being called lazy and incapable of getting a job. The hostility was there from day one. Certain groups were especially ostracized. In 1882, the United States passed the Chinese Exclusion Act, the first federal law aimed at stopping a specific ethnic group, Chinese laborers, from entering. While it was initially set for 10 years, later laws kept tightening the restriction. Chinese immigrants already living in the country had to register, carry proof of residence, and could be deported if they failed to comply. The Chinese Exclusion Act reflects how fear and prejudice shaped U.S. immigration policy. By singling out Chinese immigrants as a threat, it opened the door for treating other ethnic groups with similar hostility. This policy set the stage for the U.S. to view entire communities as problems, rather than seeing them as people with hopes, skills, and contributions to offer.
I am a computer science major, and my hobby is video games. My dad, he took the immigration test that like most middle schoolers fail, and he passed it. Well, the miners from like the foreign countries like Ireland and like China and stuff for the gold rush, like they were the ones who were like paying the like the hotel owners and like the shuttle companies.
The U.S. would once again become threatened by the presence of immigrants, because after the attacks of Pearl Harbor and the abrupt entrance into World War II, the United States and many Americans became concerned about Japanese citizens and heavily discriminated against them. But these acts went further as the government joined in too. They relocated Japanese Americans to what are now known as internment camps, stripping them of any property or assets they had accumulated in America. Over 80,000 of the 125,000 Japanese Americans were second-generation citizens, meaning they were born in the U.S. It is forgotten. It is avoided, and it is erased. In a war filled with U.S. triumph, it is imperative to analyze how the lives of immigrants were affected simply based on fear of an enemy from within. A country championed by immigrants turned their back on them once fear took over. Now, let's fast forward 20 years. It's October 3rd, 1965, on Liberty Island. With Manhattan shining in the backdrop, President Lyndon B. Johnson signs the Immigration and Nationality Act. For 4 decades, America's immigration laws had enforced strict quotas that favored Northern Europe and the British Isles, leaving many from Southern and Eastern Europe, Asia, and other parts of the world at a disadvantage. The new law ends the unfair quotas and introduces a system that looks instead at people's skills, family connections, and their potential to contribute to America. It encourages diversity and seeks to open the nation's doors more widely. The shift had roots in President John F. Kennedy's vision. After his death, President Johnson and Senator Ted Kennedy worked together to make it happen. In a 1965 phone call, they confirmed their shared dedication to passing the law, showing a united front despite any political differences. This act represents a turning point in U.S. immigration policy. It moves away from a system based on race and national origin and towards one focused on what individuals can bring to the country. By breaking down old, restrictive barriers, it helps create a more inclusive America where people's backgrounds matter less than their dreams and abilities.
President Biden's administration relied heavily on parole throughout his term, including the humanitarian parole of detained migrants and targeted programs for certain nationalities. Under a parole program started in 2022, as many as 30,000 migrants per month could legally fly to the United States from Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, or Haiti. This program prioritizes safe, orderly migration while reducing the risks associated with dangerous border crossings and human trafficking. This offers a structured pathway rather than not providing help, which allows for safer migration. The Biden administration aims to address the humanitarian crisis driving migration and stabilizing the process. Despite its good intentions, the program has sparked debate, with critics questioning its effectiveness in solving the problem of border security. Despite the questions, this program shows the United States' commitment to assisting vulnerable populations. During President Trump's first term, his administration changed how the United States handled immigration policies. President Trump set up a series of controversial measures that set the groundwork for his term. These measures include various asylum and deportation policies. These strict measures aim to increase immigration rules to prioritize national security. The main steps include reducing refugee resettlement quotas to historic lows and implementing the Remain in Mexico policy. This policy requires the people of Mexico who seek asylum to stay in Mexico until their claims are processed. The most prominent measure taken was the travel ban on certain majority Muslim countries, such as Iran and Iraq. The policy was made out to be a national security necessity. This sparked widespread criticism and legal battles. The opponents of the rulings deemed them as discriminatory. On top of the conflicts with the Muslim country travel ban, there were stricter deportation policies overall, which has a significant increase in arrests by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, drawing praise from Republican politicians and many U.S. citizens for enforcing the law but sparking fear among immigrant communities. These significant changes define the administration's immigration policy, leaving a legacy of support and controversy. These policies raise the question about the United States' ability to balance security and humanitarian obligations, as America is one of the leading destinations for migrants and refugees today.
A large shift from the original titles as lazy and slovenly. Today, immigrants are feared for their work ethic and willingness to do hard jobs for less pay. As of June 2024, immigrants made up less than 20% of the total workforce. However, there are more immigrants in service positions, as well as jobs involving natural resources, construction, maintenance, production, transportation, and material moving than native-born Americans. Despite this, the average native-born American makes over $8,000 more per year than immigrants. Because of these facts, some Americans think immigrants are stealing their jobs. Owners of blue-collar companies want to keep overhead as low as possible, and the easiest way to do that is to keep employee wages low, meaning the immigrant who is willing to work for less than the union minimum will always get hired over the American who wants their fair wage. Some have taken offense to these facts and think it's unfair to those born here. Some blame immigrants for the degradation of the American Union, but others think that those willing to work for less shouldn't be forced to stay in line with a system they don't agree with.
You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
If a president attempts to end birthright citizenship, it would challenge long-standing interpretations of the 14th Amendment and could face intense legal scrutiny. This move would fundamentally alter who is considered American and raise questions about the stability of a citizen's status. Additionally, deporting citizens with undocumented family members could disrupt families, deepen political polarization, and likely prompt significant backlash from both civil rights advocates and the broader public. You know about the President-elect Trump. He's going to end the birthright citizenship. What do you think about that?
Oh, well, it is bad because that's unconstitutional then. I guess not, because like technically amendments can be amended. So like the Congress decides to make the laws like that Trump can deport the children as well, then like that would be the right course. Because it's not like right now, then because the right course right now is to have them go to like foster homes and stuff.
Trump can fix the illegal immigration crisis and make them pay for it too.
This headline suggests that undocumented immigrants cost U.S. taxpayers about $9,000 each year. It claims that Trump can solve the immigration problem by making these immigrants pay for their own costs. In other words, it's saying that stricter policies under Trump could both stop illegal immigration and reduce the money taxpayers spend supporting those who are here without permission. What are your thoughts on how immigration impacts the jobs and the economy overall in the United States?
Oh, it's the reason why I can afford groceries, because I know a lot of Mexican farmers working down like California and Texas, they get paid like nothing, so it's really good for me.
As we look back at the history of U.S. immigration policies, from early exclusions to more recent reforms, one thing is clear. The story is complex, evolving, and shaped by changing values and circumstances. Understanding how we got here can help guide thoughtful conversations about where we go next. Ultimately, it's up to every generation to consider the balance of fairness, opportunity, security, and compassion as America's immigration journey continues.